Hi, my name is Maveen Kaur. I'm from DiscoveryLifeToday.com. This is Discovery Life Today YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be going over stop feeling worthless. This is how you handle stress. So really it's just going to be talking about how to handle regular stress as well as some work stress. A lot of times people are stressed out and they really don't know what to do or what steps to take. So I'm just going to kind of go through the whole scenario on how we get there and how to deal with it once we get there, and kind of go through some scenarios of how people try to deal with it and maybe why those things really don't necessarily work. You can definitely read more about this at discoverylifetoday.com/handle stress. So please note before I get started that I'm not a health professional, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm just someone who's used a lot of the principles that I'm going to be talking about here in handling my own stress and my own life and whatnot. And I found, things that work and things that do not work. So I really just want to talk about that. It's also things that I've read about or talked about with other people and seeing what's worked in other people's lives and things that haven't worked with other people. So just really putting together a nice video for that. So get yourself a piece of paper and a pen if you're stressed out. Definitely, take a lot of good notes from this. I do believe a lot of this will help you get over that stress as well. So, are you stressed out? A lot of times what happens is right now a lot of people are stressed and frustrated with work and are feeling stressed. How do you plan to deal with this stress? Are you able to handle it, or are you, do you really need to get some help? These are some questions that you need to start asking yourself. What is stress, and what is causing your stress in your life? Is it work? Is it someone else? Is it people? Is it a financial situation? What is it? What is causing your stress? And we're going to talk about why it's going to be important to handle stress effectively. Because if you're not handling it properly, it can cause you to be more stressed out, more stressful, and cause other people stress, and maybe even end up doing harm to yourself, which is not what we want to do. Since the economy in 2014, many people are feeling more economically stressed out, more than ever. And, this is causing a lot of people to have to deal with financial situations that they've never had to deal with, right? Stocks are going down, or the market, companies are laying people off. People are having a hard time finding jobs. Government's not paying that much money when they do have to collect, say, welfare or social services or whatnot, depending on what country you're listening to this from. A lot of things are happening. A lot of people are stressed out. They have families, they have kids, and they have other expenses that just keep coming. And every single day that they go through, more and more time is being used. They have less and less resources to work with, and they're just starting to feel stressed out. When we do go through stress puts a tremendous amount of pressure on our body, on our mind, and as well as our soul as well. When you're under stress, do you notice that your heart beats a little faster? Your heartbeat changes, you start maybe perspiring, you start getting a headache. For some reason, maybe your back and your shoulders hurt. Some people experience a lower than average sex drive. They're not in the mood for it. They experience mood swings, they get angry, they get excited, they get frustrated, they yell, they scream, and they don't mean to. Some people just really want to be left alone and want to be dealing with their stress by themselves. Not necessarily a good idea, could be a good idea depending on how stressed out you are. If you feel or felt any of these type of symptoms, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That the stress that's put on your body over a long period of time can cause a huge buildup of cholesterol. Cholesterol can put you at a high risk for blood pressure, a stroke, and even a heart attack. It's not uncommon to hear about people on a Monday morning that are driving to work that have a heart attack right before they get to work. Why? Because they're so stressed out. After they've had a nice 2 days off and they've had a chance to relax, they get so stressed that they got to go back to the work that is causing them stress, or people to be around people that's causing them stress. So your body and stress, that's kind of the next little section here. When your body is coping with stress, your sympathetic system can lead you to experience a wide range of problems. These go from gastro problems, which are stomach problems, fear, disease can occur in your body, tension, lack of focus, aches and pains, and other symptoms can come. In the short term, I do believe, being a little stressed out can help you achieve, the desired results of what you're working for. So, if you're working for a project, trying to accomplish a project and trying to get it done, you have a little bit of stress to get it finished. That can be a good type of stress to try to get it done. But it's in the long term that we're worried about, where people are long-term stressed, and not just from projects like that, but from other things that are also stressing them out. How we deal with the stress is really going to show us how we can overcome that stress. So there's many different types of stress. There's anxiety, which we're going to go over first, and the second part is, panic attacks. So when people have anxiety, they're going to also feel a range of different symptoms as well. One of them being uneasiness, dizziness. They get shaking of the hands, shortness of their breath, maybe diarrhea, nausea. They have a fear and maybe a lack of concentration. So I guess when you have these things, how do you deal with this anxiety? Many times, when we first are dealing with this, we don't really know what it is or what's happening to us. So we maybe just try to sit, we try to do some breathing exercise, we just try to work around that, what is happening. A lot of times what we may need to do is just walk away from the situation we're in. The doctor may tell us, hey, you know what, don't worry about it, just deal with it, it'll kind of pass. Sometimes it does, not all the time. Sometimes they'll put us on medication, not something that we want to be on long term. We'll get into that a little bit as well. But what happens sometimes is if this is a reoccurring stress or anxiety on you, you may want to go talk to your management. Sometimes it's just the environment you're in or the people you're sitting around at work that may be causing this anxiety or stress on your body. Panic attacks. Personally, I've never had a panic attack, so I don't really understand what that feels like or what that feeling that someone is experiencing feels like, but I do understand it's a feeling of being overwhelmed. You just don't think you can handle it anymore, right? And that's, I guess, kind of the thing that people feel. This can be triggered at any time. It's not like a thing that happens because of specific order. It can happen anytime, and people definitely feel that this is real, and it is real to them because that's what they experience. If they have these panic attacks over time, this can really cause some serious depression as well. And a lot of people, again, keep in mind, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a psychologist. I'm just someone who's talked to a lot of different people and just kind of seeing where they are and had these conversations and seeing what they've experienced. So I just really want to be able to give this information to you. So dealing with anxiety and panic attacks is definitely going to be important. Many people who suffer from ongoing attacks maybe should go talk to a counselor. Many counselors will then say, hey, let it ride out. Don't worry, you'll deal with it. It'll go, it'll come in, it'll go. The next thing that, we can do is at work, or if it's in our own business, we can try to lower our workload. Maybe we can talk to our coworkers and our management about the level of stress that we're feeling and see if we can do something to manage that while we're at work. You need to remember that your attitude towards your stress will also determine how you're going to handle that stress. The more positive you are towards it, the more positive results you may feel. The more negative you are towards it, again, like anything, you're going to get negative results. Negative results only create negative results. So you try to replace those negative words you may be saying about yourself or to yourself when you're in that type of problem, and try to replace them with more positive things that you were saying. Depression. Now, many people, I believe, have probably felt some sort of depression in their life. Maybe if a loved one has passed away and they get depressed, or they feel depressed, or they feel sad or frustrated or unhappy or whatever. But I think a lot of people have gone through depression in their life. And there's a lot of different symptoms of depression as well. Some of them are very deep and cutting, and some of them are very on top. Again, some of the symptoms you may feel if you have depression may be, fatigue, a lower sex drive, insomnia, meaning you can't sleep, maybe tension, hypertension, some irritability, hopelessness. You feel like no one's really there for you. You may have experienced suicidal thoughts. Now, if you're dealing with any sort of suicidal thoughts, turn this off, go talk to a professional right away. You need some definite help, and not saying this in a mean way, I'm saying this from a loving way. Please get yourself some help, because it's going to be important that we get you back to the way you used to be. Sometimes what will happen is people will subscribe you medicine. In my opinion, medicine is a good place to be, but you don't want to be on any sort of medication for a long period of time. So talk to your doctor saying, look, if I do take this medication, I want a system to get myself off this medication. A lot of times what happens is you'll start taking medication for depression. That will cause maybe your depression to go away, but now you may be dealing with fatigue. Then they say, okay, well, you need to take these set of vitamins or pills, I guess, not vitamins in this case. You take these pills here. This will help you with your fatigue. Well, now you're dealing with your depression, you're dealing with your fatigue, and now maybe you start getting insomnia. Then they hand you these sleeping pills and say, well, I'll take these sleeping pills. Now you're sleeping too much. And the circle just goes on and on and on, and soon you're taking a whole bunch of pills for things that you shouldn't be taking. So if you're going to be talking to your doctor about medicine, talk to them about as well as getting off that medicine over a long or a shorter period of time. Things that you can do to maybe deal with your depression, maybe take a break from work. This is going to be probably the easiest thing I can say. At lunchtime, maybe go for a walk, get into nature anytime you have a chance to. A lot of times you'll find that people who are depressed are probably a little bit overweight as well. So maybe try to get your weight into check. Fix your diet up as well. Even if you're not overweight, there's nothing wrong with fixing your diet. The more better food you eat, the better you will feel as well. You can definitely meditate as well. Meditation has helped me go through my ulcerative colitis, which is my health problems, which were also caused by stress of a previous relationship and whatnot. But it helped me understand how to deal with it just through meditation, because now I could spend time with myself and understand how to get over that. Many times we need to reach out, so that might be a good idea. Talk to some friends, talk to a counselor, find ways to be less depressed as well. Do not generalize everything. No one is a mind reader. You gotta tell people kind of what you're really feeling. The more information you give people, sure, you might be a little bit more vulnerable, but the better you can be helped. So there are some good food choices we can make. A lot of times what happens is we're working at our desk, we get kind of stressed out, so what do? We head over to the vending machine, the pantry, or the fridge, depending on where you work. You go get that bag of chips, the junk food, you eat it. And what's the first two things that happen? One, you feel satisfied. Two, you're like, man, I shouldn't have ate that. Kind of feel the same way every time I do something like that as well. If I go have a burger, I knew I shouldn't have ate that burger, but it was definitely satisfying. I was happy I ate it at the moment, but after that moment of happiness goes away, I shouldn't have ate that, because now I'm not working towards my fitness goals anymore, am I? Now I have to work out harder to get back to burning off that burger or whatever, right? So over a long period of time, a poor diet can majorly impact the way your brain functions are. So this is probably why they tell you to eat fish as well, because it can help you bring those positive endorphins back into your mind. You need to make sure you're eating the right types of food. Make sure you're getting the right carbohydrates, good carbohydrates, proteins and fats and amino acids and vitamins. All of that put together will help us work every day in a way that we can accomplish what we want to accomplish, feel less depressed, and kind of start reversing those symptoms that we are starting to feel. A lot of times I notice a lot of people are not drinking enough water. This is natural in society. Most people walk around dehydrated. So drink somewhere between that 2 to 4 liters of water a day, again, depending on what you do, what your job is. But there's nothing wrong with drinking water, because it is going to help you stay hydrated, keep you full as well. Stay away from those caffeine-y drinks like coffee. A lot of times people go for coffee because it's an easy drink. You add a bunch of sugar in it. What's the first thing it does? It spikes your sugar levels. You get the old sugar crash. You'll see that sometimes. You'll have to reach for another cup of coffee, and on and on. Maybe cut the salt as well. What happens if you eat too much salt? This can increase your blood pressure over time. I would also recommend maybe cutting the caffeine to a limited amount as well, and that includes energy drinks, because caffeine can increase tension in your body and increase nervous tension as well. So we want to get rid of that nervous tension. Next one is drugs and alcohol. A lot of people will turn to drugs and alcohol as a way to deal with their anxiety, their depression, the way they feel, their stress, and it can help. I'm not going to say it won't, but the problem is a lot of people take it very excessive. There's nothing wrong with having a glass of wine. There's nothing wrong with having a beer with a friend or having a shot for a birthday. It's the fact that we have too much of it, and we try to use that as a way of escaping from our problems. That's when it becomes a huge problem. Alcohol and drugs have become a huge problem in our society, and when the wrong people are taking alcohol and drugs, they just lead to bad results. More and more as well, you'll see that narcotics and prescription medicines are being abused in record numbers. You'll also see in the recent years people like Amy Winehouse, Michael Jackson, Prince, Whitney Houston, they all died because of drug overdoses, because their doctors are prescribing these things to them that they don't know how to use, so they take too much of it because they're trying to deal with their problems and escape their problems. And when you take too much of anything, it can't be a good thing, So there's other effects of alcohol and drugs. Alcohol and prescription medications can complicate your efforts on dealing with stress. A lot of times you're using it to escape the stress, so you're not really dealing with it or thinking about it. If you're thinking about it and dealing with it, let's say you have one drink, you sit down with a piece of paper and a pen and you really start mapping out what's your problem and what's bothering you, that might be okay. I'd opt out for a water or something else instead, but if you want to sit down with a beer, sure. What the problem is, a lot of people start drinking because they want to numb the pain. They want that stress to go away that's in their mind. Again, prescription medicines I mentioned earlier, we don't want to be on these things for long periods of time. Short term, sure, get the help you need, but then get off them as soon as you can. Other things that can cause stress on the job, one of them being harassment on the job. There's typically two types of harassment, a general harassment and a sexual harassment. Neither of them are good. A lot of us experience harassment on the school grounds when we were kids, by bullies, maybe we're the bully. Hopefully you weren't the bully there. Hopefully you weren't even being bullied. But more and more you hear about that as well. Maybe it's peers at work that are harassing you, or maybe it's even someone on the management team that's harassing you. This is not a good thing. We need to learn how to deal with it. We need to also talk to the person who's harassing us and say, hey, look, we're not going to tolerate this any longer. If you continue to do this, I will go higher up the chain and we will have to deal with this together. Sexual harassment is illegal. It's not something that's looked at in the office space as something that's good to do. So definitely, if you're doing it, cut it off. If you're being harassed and you're watching this video, deal with that as well. Talk to somebody at your work, find ways to get around this, and then go talk to that person that's harassing you and say, hey, look, you need to stop. If you don't stop, I will go take the next step. And if that doesn't scare them away, take the next step and report that harassment, even if it's your manager. You may need to quit, but then go to the Better Business Bureau, sue them, charge them, whatever you need to do. You need to get out of that situation. It's not something that you want to be in forever. There are other conflicts at a job that can cause people to feel general type of harassment as well. Many times, it's gossip. People are just talking about each other at work and saying, oh, he said this and she said that. If you're in the gossip mode, stop it, turn it off. Just don't even deal with it. If people are gossiping about you, don't start gossiping about them. Kind of like try to deal with it positively. Don't entertain it. The more you entertain it, the more fuel you just keep giving them and giving that more fire to keep doing what they're doing and saying what they're saying. It's not uncommon to feel angry at work. It's not good to feel angry at work, and you shouldn't feel that way every day. If you are starting to feel that way, definitely you might be noticing that you're getting stressed out. Once in a while, yeah, sure, something frustrates you at work, things are just going your way, but it's how you handle it that's going to make the big difference. If you're already stressed out, then being angry can make it even worse. When you're angry, you don't think, and when you don't think, you don't think about what you're about to say, you don't think about your actions, and you just do and say things that you really didn't mean to do, and you really can't take those back sometimes. You need to learn how to stay calm. I think this is super important when we are stressed out. We need to speak slower. We need to let our unconscious mind and our body feel calmer. Again, talking about what we talked about earlier, meditating, doing breathing exercises, breathing in and exhaling, and getting that stress out of us. Going to the gym, it really helps a lot of people as well deal with that stress. A lot of times people have maybe stopped smoking and they feel additional stress too. So getting up to the gym, maybe eating some healthy food can definitely help as well. Again, talking to somebody that's a professional, that's always going to help. Now, if you have two people who are stressed out, you have to remember two people who are stressed out cannot manage stress properly. So both of you maybe need to go find somebody to go talk to. Lastly, take time off if you're feeling burnt out at work. You're not the only one. Nowadays, more and more people are feeling overworked, underpaid, and well underappreciated. Unfortunately, many people work from home and they get bored, they get financially stressed, there's pressures to perform, they're uninspired by the work they've been doing or the jobs that they are doing. So sometimes we have to look for a new job. Perhaps we need to just take a break from the job we're doing and just kind of reinvent, re-energize ourselves so we can get back at it. There is a 2-week vacation that's available to you if you work for somebody, and if you need to, take an unpaid leave of absence. Your health is more important than a job. You can always find a job elsewhere, even if it means you got to flip some burgers for a little while, but your health is way more important than anything else that you'll go through. My name is Maveen Kaura. This was the Discover Your Life Today YouTube channel. Again, you can find me at Discover Your Life Today. I hope this has helped you, and I hope this will help you deal with some of the stresses that you may be feeling at work. Again, please remember, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a professional psychiatrist or psychologist or anything like that. I cannot prescribe medicine to people. What all I'm doing is saying again is that I've been through a lot of these things. I've talked to a lot of people who've gone through a lot of these things, and I'm just trying to help people deal and cope with the best way they can. If you have any questions, leave me a comment. If you have any other issues that you'd like me to talk about or deal with, I do my best to do so. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Like it if you enjoy this video. Don't like it if you didn't enjoy this video. Let me know how you feel. If you have any questions, again, let me know. Other than that, I hope you have yourself a wonderful day. Please deal with the stress that you feel.